So today we'll be talking about the most prominent players who are currently injured or have been injured in the recent months, whether they'll make or not the World Cup this year in Brazil. Here today we have Dr. Gustavo Gonçalves Arliane, a specialist in sports medicine and knee injury. He's also part of the Center for Excellence of Medicine from FIFA, and he'll be attending 2 World Cup games at Arena Corinthians in São Paulo this year. Thank you, Doctor, for your time.
Thank you for the invitation, and I expect to answer all the questions and doubts about the injuries and the World Cup.
Could you talk specifically about the World Cup, some of the most common injuries that happen, and if whenever they do happen, can a player injured in the first or second game, can they come back for a 16 round, a semifinal, or a final?
When we analyzed the data of the 3 last World Cups, we concluded that the most common lesions in the World Cup are the same that happen in football and soccer. That is the contusions in all over the body, but extremely in the inferior members, the lesions in the knee and the ankle, and the muscle injuries. We think that is the most prevalent injuries in soccer. When you analyze all this data, we found that 2 injuries happen in each game, and maybe that's not a good information. But when we analyze this, we think that the most of these injuries are mild injuries that the player can return to sport in 7 days.
Jump into specific cases of players. One that caught the attention of a lot of people was of Diego Costa from Atletico Madrid. It went with this unorthodox treatment of the horse placenta, electrical shocks, just to make him come back to the final of the UEFA Champions League. Could you talk a little bit about his case and whether this treatment is really efficient or if it's nothing that you would recommend on a daily basis?
The case of Diego Costa is a different case in this part of the treatment because he has a muscle injury in the teeth, and I think that's a grade 1 or 2 lesion. And in order to play in the UEFA Champions League final, the club, the Atletico de Madrid, tried to accelerate the recuperation of the player and tried this different treatment with horse placenta. It's a very different treatment. There is no evidence in the medical literature that embase this kind of treatment, and we think that will not go very well, because he tried to play this game and he has no success.
But so, could this make it worse on a future injury? Could this treatment aggravate something?
Maybe because in muscle lesions we try to rest the player, to use ice and medicaments to treat the player associated with the physiotherapy. So when the player returns to another game and try to run and do all the movements in a soccer game, maybe they have another injury or aggravate this kind of lesion.
As for Luis Suarez, who went on a surgery last week, Uruguayan fans are crazy about him. They even threatened to kill the other player who injured him in the Premier League. With 2 weeks left to the World Cup, can he really make to the tournament?
Suarez, I think, is one of the most important players from Uruguay here in the World Cup, and he had a injury in the meniscus here inside the knee. It's an injury that needs surgery, and he did an arthroscopy in his knee. And the time for the recovery of the athlete here in this case, it's between 3 and 4 weeks. So it's just in time for him to play in the World Cup, and you see that if he will be possible to play in the first game or if we have to wait for the second or the third game to play in the World Cup.
Now, a long and tough case of Radamel Garcia Falcão from Colombia. He got injured at the beginning of the year. He went through the surgery. He's been posting tweets and photos on Instagram trying to get the Colombian fans motivated and behind him. His case, can he really make to the World Cup?
Falcão had an injury in anterior cruciate ligament. That's a ligament inside the knee that is responsible for the stability, the anterior stability of the knee. It's a more severe lesion than the meniscus lesion, for example, and it will be necessary around 5 or 6 months for him to return to the sport. So I think it will be possible for him to play in the World Cup, but we have to see if he has time enough to be at 100% to play all the games and in a World Cup game level.
Mm-hmm. So we just talked to Dr. Arliane. He's a member of the FIFA Excellence for Medicine in Brazil. He'll be participating in 2 of the World Cup games in São Paulo. Doctor, thanks a lot for your patience.
Thank you for the invitation and good luck for us here in Brazil in the World Cup.